Merry Christmas. It's coming. Merry Christmas. Christmas is coming. And it's going to be here in a couple days. How exciting is this? So, we're going to talk a little bit about Christmas and see where we're at and how this is affecting all of us in this crazy time. So, let's figure this out. Let's figure out how to I'm trying to see how I can look at my face. Look at me so I know what I'm doing. So what I thought we would do is we would read this chapter of the Bible that we read every year in my house for Christmas Eve, because that's kind of what this is all about, isn't it? It's about the baby. It's about the baby coming. The baby's coming. So first I want to know, did you have a good week? Did you enjoy the snow? We're having a white Christmas. Did you do your work? Did you have to stay and keep doing schoolwork even though there was snow outside? So it's a little different. And are you getting through? And are you excited about Christmas? Because Christmas is cool. So I hope that we can enjoy this time. We'll go back to being a little crazy, but maybe we can enjoy this time right now. So I want to read this part that I read at my house every year, that my mom started, a tradition, and now my kids are doing it. And then I want to see how this relates to us, because that's what I try to do, because it's important to me that what we talk about here has to do with real life, and history is important because you learn from history, but maybe we need to figure out how it works now so we can use that. It's like a tool, right? We talked about tools. So let's read and see how this affects us now. This is from Luke, which is one of the Gospels. Luke, and it's the second chapter, and it's verses 8 through 20. That night, some shepherds were in the fields nearby watching their sheep, and an angel of the Lord stood before them. Whoa! The glory of the Lord was shining around them. And suddenly they became very frightened. And the angel said to them, "Don't be afraid, because I am bringing you some good news. It will be a joy to all the people. Today, your Savior was born in David's town. He is Christ the Lord, and this is how you will know him. You will find a baby wrapped in cloths and lying in a feeding box." They say manger, right? That's a box that holds food for the cattle. Then a very large group of angels from heaven joined the first angel, and they all were praising God, and they were saying, "Give glory to God in heaven and on earth. Let there be peace to the people who please God." Then the angels left the shepherds, and they went back to heaven, and the shepherds said to each other, "Whoa, let's go to Bethlehem and see this thing that has happened. We will see this thing the Lord told us about." So the shepherds went quickly, and they found Mary and Joseph. And the shepherds saw the baby lying in a feeding box, and they told what the angels had said about this child. And this is the big part. They told what the angels had said about this child, and everyone was amazed when they heard what the shepherds said to them. Mary hid these things in her heart and continued to think about them. Then the shepherds went back to their sheep, praising God and thanking him for everything they had seen and heard. It was just as the angel had told them. All right, so these are shepherds, and shepherds are sometimes younger, sometimes older, and their job was to stay outside in the cold, in the warm, in the heat, in the rain, and take care of sheep, because sheep will wander away. So they need somebody to watch them. I think cows pretty much will follow each other, and they're pretty safe, but sheep will wander. They'll follow one person and then just keep going. So they needed somebody to make sure they didn't wander away. So there they are. Now, this is not a job that was extremely big. in that time, right? It was not a government job. It was not a high education job. It was not anything big. They didn't get paid a lot. They had to be outside. It was like a lowly job. It was important, but people didn't really think of it that way. Now, do we have jobs like that here? We did, didn't we? We had jobs where people were like, that's a good job for a college student, or that's a job that you get minimum wage, meaning that you make the least amount of money that you can make. There were jobs like that here, just like those, just like the jobs of the shepherds. So the shepherds were not in a town, not with other people, only themselves, and there weren't a lot of them. And they were in the fields, and that was way outside the town. And then an angel came. Now, how many people do you think really actually have ever seen an angel besides Mary and Joseph and, and Elizabeth? Nobody's had really seen them. But God chose this group of people to tell them, the first people to tell that this baby was born. God did not go to the people who ran the town. He didn't go to the mayor. He didn't go to the people that owned the big, like the inn or the places that were there. He didn't even go to the people that had houses. He went to the people that really were not important in the eyes of everyone who was there, probably even to themselves. That's who he went to. And God sent the angel to them. And the angel said, listen, you're going to be the first to know. The baby that's been born is from God and is going to save us all. That's kind of how God works. He doesn't make a big fanfare. Wasn't a big fanfare when Jesus came into town when he was getting ready to be crucified. It wasn't a big fanfare when he was born. What it was small groups of people who really believed that this was going to happen. And so the angel came to these shepherds, and then the shepherds did their job, didn't they? They went into the town because the angel said, tell everybody. So they go into the town, and the people that they saw, they told. And they listened, and they understood. Who is like that now? We are in the middle of a crazy, crazy time. A pandemic, people are sick, people are trying to make decisions, and we're trying to figure out which jobs are important to keep and which jobs people need to not be working at, right? Well, it turns out that these jobs that we thought were not quite as important turns out to be the most important jobs that we have. The people who work in grocery stores do not make a lot of money. They work a lot of hours, and they work hard, very hard. They're on their feet, they're lifting heavy things. And I know this because I used to work in a deli, and it was a small deli, and they had huge, heavy boxes with sodas and all kinds of stuff in them. That's what they're doing, heavy, heavy work for not a lot of money. Turns out, most important people there are because they have the food. And without them, we can't get food. What else? What else is not quite as important? The babysitters. The babysitters were not getting paid a lot. They weren't getting the recognition that they needed. You know, I've heard it said, "You're a babysitter," like it was not the best thing. Turns out, without the babysitters, the moms and dads couldn't go back to work because schools were closing. A lot of the schools were closing. So that's kind of where I'm going with this, right? God does not look at what you do and says if you make a lot of money, if you reach a lot of people, if you get to tell other people what to do, that's a better job. God does not believe that. And the reason I think this is because of what happens all the time in the Bible. The person who had the baby, the person who was the mom of the baby, was a young woman, 16 maybe years old, from a very small town. She wasn't big in the town, and neither were her parents. She just was. Her cousin, who lived farther away, was not that important, and she had the cousin to Jesus. God does not say, in order to be a worthwhile human being, you have to have a very important job. God does not say that. God says, in order to be a worthwhile human being, love other people, take care of other people, and love God. And that's what the shepherds did. They took care of sheep. They took care of each other. And then when they had to, they went and told people. They didn't announce it on TV. They didn't go and shout it in the town square. They just went into town and saw whoever they saw, said, listen, we just saw an angel, and the angel told us that this baby's important. And they believed them. Now later, there's a thing that they call the kings, the three kings that come and visit the baby, but they really weren't necessarily kings. I think they were scientists. They were scientists who looked at the stars, and they didn't really know what stars were at the time, but they knew they were in the sky, and they knew they were far away, and they knew they moved. And they could see how they moved, and they could see the differences in the time of where each star was every night. They were scientists. And they saw that, and they tried to figure out what was going on. That's what scientists do. So here's the thing. Scientists, grocery store people, babysitters, neighbors, people who go to church, people who don't go to church. We are all important. People who run businesses are important, but people who work in those businesses are also just as important. Without those people, businesses wouldn't run. So maybe what I want to take from this is you are important. You are so important. We are all right here. We are the ones that are here, all of us. We're all trying to navigate and live this life that we're supposed to live, regardless of what we do for a living, regardless of the family that we come from, regardless of the background that we have. We are all important. We've been told this, but this whole part of our lives right now has shown us. Sometimes you have to have a really bad thing happen to understand the reality, the truth. And the truth is that no matter who you are, you matter. You're it. Without you, that job would not be done. Without the people who stock the food, there would be no food. Without the young women and young men and the kids who watch other kids, those moms and dads wouldn't have jobs. Without people who cut the grass, that grass would become overgrown and it wouldn't be safe for children or animals. Without the people who plow the streets, there'd be accidents and people would die. Your job's important. It's important, no matter what your job is. God does not say you have to have a small job to be a big person. God doesn't say that. God says it's up to you. You be a good person. You take care of other people. By plowing, by cutting grass, by stocking food, by watching babies, by anything. This is important. I want you to take that. This is my Christmas gift to you. You are important. You are important to me. You are important to your family. You are important to your friends and your church and your work. And you are important to God. Every single person. I want you to remember that. I also want you to remember that everybody else is important. There's not a hierarchy here. There's not one person more important than another. We are all important. And God is sending light through the stained glass. God knows. God is there. God has made us all important. This is a hard time. It's a scary time. But you have to remember, and you can never forget, that you are important. And by being important, you have a responsibility. You're responsible for you and the people around you to make sure that they are safe and happy. And even the ones you don't know. God's given us all a responsibility to take care of others. That's his job. That's what he said. Take care of others. Be good to others. As you treat people, you think about God. As you treat people, oh, I love this. The sun's just coming through. As you treat people, you remember that who you're treating is God. It's like you need to be good to other people, and you need to know that you are important. This is a very cool time of year, and it's a very stressful and scary time of year, and it's a very stressful and scary year. But the important things are still here. The important things are you and your family and your pets and the animals and the people that you work with. The people you see on the street and the people you hear about in the news are all important. What's happening now will change, but we will stay. We will do what we have to do, regardless of what the world around us is like, regardless of who's running the country, regardless of other things. We will make changes and we will make it right. So Merry Christmas, and know that you are important, and you are loved, and you are responsible for other people. You do what you can, okay? I don't want you to think that if somebody gets hurt, it's your fault. It's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying that. If somebody makes a choice, it's not that you made them make that choice, but you do the best you can to take care of other people. Okay? I want you to have a really, really good Christmas. And if it's just you, know that I love you and I'm thinking about you and God is with you. If it's just a couple people in your family, know that other people who are not necessarily there love you. And the people who are with you love you. And you are important to them. And you are important to those who can't be with you. So know that I know that you are important. Have a good week and have a great Christmas. I love you. I miss you. But we'll be together soon.